I'm inspired to act on the environment because, as a Christian, I believe we are called to love one another. Christianity is about community, connecting with our neighbours next door, in the next street, village, city, country, or continent. The advent of the global village has made this easier. And this phrase, global village, coined by Canadian writer Marshall McLuhan in the 1960s, encapsulates how everybody on the planet was becoming increasingly more connected via technology. Technology can only take us so far though, and it is still important to balance this by developing and maintaining personal, face-to-face relationships with each other and interacting with our own world through connecting with nature, for example. A few years ago I read Shane Claiborne's book The Irresistible Revolution. I felt challenged by the mission of Shane's community, The Simple Way, based in Philadelphia, to love God and love people by becoming ordinary radicals, through serving others in love. I searched for such a community that was as radical in its faith and action as I saw the simple way to be. I felt particularly called to working with vulnerable people, as well as doing something to help the environment. I became a part of various communities, such as volunteering at the Greenhouse Organic Cafe in Norwich, as well as assisting in the construction of a building using environmentally friendly methods and materials at the Athona community in Bradwell, Essex. In my daily life, I also did little things like recycling, turning off the light when leaving a room, but these things are easy, and to be honest, I did them more out of middle-class guilt than anything else. So I was possibly trying too hard to be a radical Christian rather than just being Christian. I still believe that being a follower of Jesus is about loving God, people, and all of creation. It's part of a Christian's ministry to do something about a situation that affects every living being on the planet. I personally find being in nature very spiritually satisfying, as well as helpful in appreciating God's creation. If we are created in the image of God, then we are required to view all of creation as God does. Genesis 1:31 reads, God saw everything he had made and it was very good. It then follows that damaging the earth is not the same as managing it. According to a March 2015 study from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, drought caused by climate change significantly contributed to the Syrian conflict of 2011. Climate researcher Professor Richard Seeger of Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory co-authored the study. He said that whilst the drought did not cause the war, it helped kick things over the threshold into open conflict. A drought of that severity was made much more likely by the ongoing human-driven drying out of that region. This has had a knock-on effect of refugees fleeing the crisis and attempting to enter other countries such as the UK, encountering opposition and tragedy on the way. The whole global village is affected, and the reaction on social media makes it feel closer to home for everyone else. It was hard to escape heart-wrenching imagery and reports on what was happening, but people's response has been heartwarming. The Calais Action Campaign, for example, resulted in an overabundance of food, clothing and supplies being donated to refugees encamped at Calais as they waited to find a way to travel to a better life. Professor Seeger was quoted in The Independent as saying, I think this is scary and it's only just beginning. It's going to continue through the current century as part of the general drying of the eastern Mediterranean. I don't see how things are going to survive there. COP21 aims to bring world leaders and delegates together to reach an agreement about how to prevent global warming rising above 2 degrees in the next few years. The pilgrimage to Paris is where faith and activism meet, with the aim of showing world leaders why the environment is important to the Church and how necessary COP21 is. It's a beautiful way to demonstrate faith in action, and as the pilgrimage was instigated by the Anglican Church, to put the protest back in Protestant. Pilgrimage is a good way to connect with other people and nature. I believe that I should go on the pilgrimage to Paris because it would be a step up from the token actions I have been doing and connect me with a larger Christian community, bringing me alongside other like-minded people who want to make a difference by challenging and inspiring world leaders to find the best way of cooling global warming.